in order to make it affordable for, for everybody, for not everybody, but, for like you said, first responders, workforce, and all that.
Jim, have you looked at doing townhouses too, just to, add a couple more? I guess the two family units are just two townhouses. Is that the idea? And then,
yeah, that's kind of.
That's what you're thinking.
Thomas, it's kind of what we going back and forth with internally in the office too, is like, do you just do townhouses and make it, like you said, a duplex, and you would be able to increase the density? Our thought just internally was, you see the duplexes everywhere. And, we get my uncle and I go back and forth. He says, nobody wants to be Daniel Boone. He said, so everybody, don't try and recreate the wheel. And I'm like, but, to do a smaller single family home, I think, it's a little bit more of a dynamic, home ownership. I think it's a little bit different when it's a single family, even though they would probably only be 10, 15 feet apart. It would be tight. It'd be tight going in there, between them, but it's still a single family home. And that's kind of what we were targeting. But you're absolutely correct, because that's the internal argument that we're having in the office now.
Yeah,
I mean, we would get a little bit more density.
Yeah, and that's what we as SHOPC. I know we probably have philosophical differences even between the people on this call, but in my mind, the more affordable units we can get, the better. If it's going to be an affordable housing project.
Yep.
So if it's a choice between 4 small houses and 8 townhouse units, to me, 8 townhouse units sound like a better outcome, at least from our standpoint.
Well, from your standpoint, because I probably slightly disagree. I think I'm more leaning towards Jim, the Florida style houses. I think there's a very important aspect of actually owning all 4 walls.
Yeah.
I agree with that versus the duplex mentality. I think there's more pride to a home ownership when you own the 4 walls. Quick question for Tom. Have you done any napkin, say if you did a Florida style, you go all the way back around the property. I don't know if you can highlight the query with again, I'm on Google Earth. I haven't walked back there or anything, but have you did a guesstimate if you did a Florida style housing, around the back of the property? How many houses are you talking about?
I think you're 30 to 40.
Okay.
And I think, so our target was to do, like a 2-bedroom to kind of keep the kid count down a little bit, try and do like 2 bedrooms in an office. Obviously all the new construction houses, we're all doing offices because so many people working from home. But that's what we were targeting. So you would have a shared septic system. So, you could have the 99 bedrooms or 90 bedrooms on a shared septic. So, that would be the limiting factor. And then obviously, and then what you could fit in there as far as unit count.
Now,
on the road, we would also be doing, we're going to be planning to do one of my ADA houses, so those houses are traumatic brain injury. We actually have one over on 30 Granuel. So 30 Granuel, right on 495. You take Brigham to Granuel, or you just take Granuel right in, then you got 495 that runs right along, and then we have one of our ranches right there. Those actually count per bedroom towards your affordable housing. So when I build one of those houses, that house was a 4-bedroom. We're switching over to 5 bedrooms right now in the houses, but you guys actually get a 4-bedroom credit too. So even the ones on the road, we'd be able to give you some credits on. It's got to run through a proximity report and everything, but I don't anticipate there to be any issue with that.
When you put up one of these, a series of these houses or townhouses, would they all be going to people that need affordable, or would it be a percentage?
So I think you'd have to designate the percentage to be affordable, but the price range that we're targeting is going to be much more affordable than really anything else in town right now.
I guess, and I have an indelicate question, but I'm trying to figure out how you can do it and meet and not be in debt.
So you know, obviously that's where we have to get the density, to get up to the 40-something units. Obviously the land is a fixed cost, the road cost is a fixed cost. And the only way to get that number down is to get the density, you know.
I get it. So we would be looking for a zoning to overlook the fact that you need an acre per house.
Right.
I
So,
get it. Okay.
but with 40B or 40R, so 40R is a new process that I'm not too familiar with. We're just starting to get educated on that. But talking to the town, it's a town of Grafton. They're doing one which is over. It's over by Green Street in Shrewsbury, Centec Boulevard, by the train station in Grafton. They're doing one, and when I spoke to the town on that, basically it seems like it's almost very similar to a 40B process where it does, you know, bypass the zoning and allow for more density. But the town gets, I think it's like 3,000. Thomas is shaking his head, so I might be wrong. Do you know?
No,
about
it's a different animal. So, you know, your 40B project is going to be your specific project on whatever, you know, land you get, you decide on. You can make it a 40B project. 40R is an overlay zoning that the town would have to adopt. So you can't. But that said, I mean, I don't know whether, you know, if it's 11 acres, you know, and we can get 30 or 40 units out of this. Sarah's got some thoughts on it.
There is precedent for a single lot
40R, yeah, right. Because, you know, the thing about 40R is, and these guys have heard me proselytize about it ad nauseum, so I won't totally bore them, but if you do a 40R, then the town gets, if you do 21 plus units, the town automatically gets $75,000 just as just for zoning it. 40R, and then every unit you make, I think the town gets like an extra $3,500. So if you do, you know, 30 or 30 units, and we're looking at another 100 grand that would come to the town to offset school systems, stuff like that. So it's a really good problem, but it does require an overlay district from the town. You can't just unilaterally.
So do you have to take that to like the town meeting in order to get that overlay put on, or is that?
Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
so it's
it's a longer road than. Right.
Okay.
It has to go to town meeting.
It does. Okay.
Right. I mean, it's similar to 40B in that 20% of it has to be affordable. And then the town gets all sorts of bonds. So it's a nice thing to have and to do, but it's a longer road for a developer than just doing a 40B project.
Oh, okay. So is there, and when you're doing a 40B, there's no incentives for the town like what's in a 40R, correct?
Right.
No.
Right. Other than getting 20%
there is.
affordable.
Yeah.
Well,
Right, you
well,
get the affordable, right, you get the
the
affordable.
inherent
Right.
incentives.
Tom, so would you, when you build these and keep them and rent them, the town gets the credit for the entire thing? I think I understand that correctly, right? Okay.
You're touching upon another issue for SHOPC, which is that, you know, at least from my standpoint, I don't care about the town's 40B limit being hit because we like affordable housing being created. You know, other interest holders and stakeholders in the town want the 40B 10% to be reached so that developers can't do any more 40B projects. I don't think we philosophically, you know, are aligned with that. We 40B projects mean more affordable housing from our standpoint.
Gotcha.
Correct.
So what do you think the best way to proceed with this would be? So does that knock out the 40R process so that because we have to go to the town? When is the next town meeting?
So there's a special town meeting in November, you know, so you would definitely be kind of looking out to the town meeting for the spring, you know, but in terms of the length of time it can take, you know, to get through a 40B, you know, if you're working on the 40R stuff kind of on the flip side simultaneously, it may not be a substantially longer road. I mean, it's definitely a little bit longer and there are timelines to consider that you don't need to consider, you know, with 40R versus 40B. But, you know, if you are willing to entertain something like that, I would encourage this board to at least kind of look critically at those timelines, you know, and I'm certainly willing to do some of that legwork to try to determine, what the delta would be between the two of those, and how we could sort of get out in front of it to prep people, for annual town meeting, maybe even in doing some kind of, educational, informational stuff, at special town meeting. So just some thoughts.
We would have, the SHOPC would have to bring forward a warrant article for this. This would have to be done through SHOPC for the town meeting. Okay.
Or it doesn't have to be us, but we could initiate. I mean, I think it'd be better for the town if this was developed with 30 units. It'd be better for the town for it to be a 40R than a 40B. But it does require the overlay district.
Right. I would agree with you on that, Tom.
Right.
But Jim, it depends on, your time schedule as well. So, I mean, you could probably put in for a 40B and then do the legwork for a 40R and change it. You can always change it. And we know that that's what builders do. So,
and James, the 40B,
we know that.
For 40B, it's not like you're acquiring the property next week and then building, digging foundations the week later. You're gonna have to go through the whole
40B still.
You're a year and a half away from putting shovels in the ground anyway.
Yeah, and the way that we bought this, we're closing on it in 4 months, and then I'm taking it through the process anyway. So, and I know I'm going to own it for a year. Honestly, I know that I'll own it for a year before I get started anyway. I've already budgeted to do that.
So you would have time to do the process for the 40R, but you can just say it's going to be a 40B to start you off.
Right.
And then, we're happy
now, would I be able to
work with you.
Is there any benefit to get in front of like zoning or anybody with the 40R, even though we haven't gotten the overlay district, or is that just creating more of an uproar of the neighborhood that's going to oppose it at the town meeting? Or is
this is why you guys get paid the big bucks, you developers. Part of your project job is to get public support behind your project. So if your engineers and people think that's a good idea, it seems to me it'd be a good idea to start putting in front of the town planner and get in front of the planning board on an informal basis and start promoting it just like you would any other project. And if you could start touting 40R as an alternative to 40B, I think you'd get a pretty good reception. But you know how towns are. This is
you never know. No doubt about that.
And we're happy to help, so we can help you however you need us to do, because we would like more affordable housing in town, and that's.
And I think it's a great spot.
That's what our goal is. So
it's
you're helping us.
Yeah, it's somewhat walkable to the train station. It's a long walk, but it's somewhat walkable to the train station. I mean, the school's right there. Great school. All my kids went to that school. Well, my daughter hasn't gotten there yet, but next year she'll be there. But yeah, I thought it was a really good location for it. That's why obviously we're acquiring it. But yeah,
Agreed.
Dorian and I just attended a webinar from Mass Municipal Association last Friday on development of affordable housing and everything from 40B to 40R to, redlining. So I do think that this is a great opportunity for partnership. I think that it's a unique opportunity in the fact that you are kind of just starting out. And so SHOPC can really get in on the ground floor with you and, to that end to kind of get this around town and hopefully gain support and not have, too much negative feedback once it gets into those final hours, like some of the projects have in town in the past. So I'm hoping for good things going forward.
I think it's a better location. I know there's a ton of opposition on the other 40B. I live near there. I know a lot of people that are in that area. I do think this is a better location. It's not, Parkerville's, it's a wider road. It's got good access. It's not a tight, it's not a tight road. So it's, it's not a back road that, was windy and whatnot. It's,
Are there any on ramps to 495 near the site?
So if you, no.
That'll make it a little easier to develop the site.
Yeah.
It doesn't have that.
Oh, I just got it. I just got it.
It's early. It's early,
I
Tom.
don't know why my screen's so dark. Like, sorry, I feel my screen's so dark. I don't know why the lights in here are not. So I feel bad. It's like I feel like I'm in like a shadow. But that project's been like 8 years, hasn't it? That's been going on, that other 40B?
8 years, yeah.
Yeah.
About that.
Oh,
It's been that long? God.
I think it has. I remember when that got approved.
I recused myself. I wasn't on that board.
I don't think anybody's still on that board. It seems like everybody resigned after that.
I don't think I'd want to be on that board. Okay, Jim, do you have any other questions for us, or does
So
anybody
what do
have
you
any
think?
questions
So
for
as far
Jim?
as moving forward, next step, how often do you meet?
Once a month, unless we need to meet more often.
Okay. I mean, I don't know if I can get on to the next meeting. A month would probably be good. We get surveyors going out there and getting started working on it to work up some conceptuals. Survey's killing us right now. It's just, nobody seems to be starting a new survey company and everybody's retiring and we got, so many projects going. So we're delayed on that. So it would probably take me the month in order to get some kind of conceptual for you. So would it be possible to get on to the next meeting?
Absolutely. Yeah, we can get
Okay.
you on. Can everyone look at their calendars? Does October 12th look good for you guys?
Isn't that Columbus Day week? Oh, it is Columbus Day
It's
weekend.
a Tuesday.
That looks fine.
That works for me.
I was gonna say, or we could go back to Wednesday, the 13th.
I'm out of town on the 13th. You'll never
And
know where I'm
Tuesday's
going.
perfect.
You have
Yeah,
no
it's a
idea where I'm
mystery,
going.
right? It's a mystery.
All right, so I'm gonna schedule it for October 12th at 8 a.m. So
Yep.
Jim, that would be our next meeting and we'll be happy to put you on our agenda.
Okay. That sounds good. I
Okay.
appreciate it.
Oh,
Thank
no
you.
problem. We appreciate you
Yeah.
coming to speak with us today and
Yeah.
wish you the very best with your project, but we are here for you. That's.
All right.
Yeah, thank you.
very much.
If you
Thanks,
help,
Jim.
Okay, thanks.
please let us know.
Okay. All right.
All right, have a great day. Bye.
You too. Thank you.
All right, bye. Okay,
That is exciting.
That is exciting.
yay! I'm so excited. I'm busting at the seam. Yes, okay. Master plan. Do we have any update for master plan? Nothing.
We have not had a meeting since our last meeting, so we're having a master plan meeting next week. I did not receive, just an FYI, no feedback, so everybody must be in agreement with the draft that we sent out a month ago, Sarah.
Yes.
So we're gonna move forward with that
Okay,
to Judith Watson is actually the scribe for taking care of a lot of stuff, so.
okay.
Yeah.
All right, great. Tom, our subcommittee, how are we doing? Or have we met? Any updates?
Yeah, I'll give you a quick update. We're still kind of in a research mode right now. We met for the first time in July, and then people weren't available in August, so we didn't meet again until just a few weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago. Was it 2 weeks ago, Alex? So this is the first time we're really being able to get into the meat of what direction we're really looking at this, and it's I view it as a big research project, but it's sort of shaping it into general tranches. I won't bore everyone with too much. I won't talk too long, but just to give you a quick overview. So the two different pathways are: one, to have the town develop it on their own. Town owns the land. Town gets resources and capital from whatever funding sources they're going to get. They do it themselves. And if we go that route, again, we're still digging into the details of how exactly that would play out, which is why I say that we're in this research phase. So there's a subcommittee of our subcommittee who are sort of digging down into the weeds on that, and seeing, is the housing authority able to do it? Are they going to get the funding sources? Do they have the wherewithal? Will they actually handle the development? Who, will they hire a developer? I don't think we're really going to get to those granular details, anytime quite soon, but that's what we're sort of looking into. The other tranche is to, have a private developer develop the site. And I think it's two different philosophical approaches, because I think if the town does it, it'll be with less capital. They'll probably work within the constraints of the existing septic on the property. And generally speaking, probably ends up being a smaller project with fewer units and a more digestible project that the town would take on. If a developer does it, you just heard Jim talk about it, in order to make it economically feasible for a developer, it would likely be a denser project with more units to make it hurdle financially for a developer. And then does it hurdle enough? And again, these are weeds that we're going to have to flush out. We're not there yet, but probably not working within the constraints of the existing septic system and figure out some other, and I don't even know the answer. Does it make sense economically for them to put an on-site wastewater system, or upgrade the septic in order to support a larger project? But philosophically, we kind of view ourselves as a research and report subcommittee. We're not making policy decisions. I think we probably have different views, and the people on this call have different views as to what's better and what's worse. I personally think that having a developer develop more units is better, because it will create more units of affordable housing. But then there's a political element. So, our overall objective is to come back to our masters, as they say, with a few different options to develop it, and then make the smarter people and people with more political skin in the game to make a policy decision as to what direction they want to go. So that's sort of where we're at.
So you're taking it and you're running with it. So both those options sound great.
We're brisk walking with it, and I'd even call it a slow jog.
That's okay. Just, you guys take your time and it'll get done correctly. So I'm not worried.
All right. Well, we're working on it.
Nope, I know you are. So thank you very much.
Sure.
Okay, in your packet or in an email, we did send you the legal opinion request I had sent to Mark. I am still waiting to hear from him as to what our town council, Jay Tallerman, thinks about this whole CPC process and funding. So we are still waiting for that response. So we will have that. When I get it, I will send it to you, but we're going to put that on the agenda for the October 12th meeting. So you have that information. We wanted you to have that. Sarah and I discussed it. We thought that you guys should have that. So does anybody have anything else?
Just curious, are we getting another appointee from the Board of Selectmen onto our?
Yes, Marty Healy. Marty Healy is our new appointee.
Oh, good.
But he is on vacation. So
oh, gotcha.
He is not here today, but we will let him know that October 12th, probably the same night he's having a selectmen's meeting, but he'll have a SHOPC meeting first thing in the morning. Does anybody have any other questions or things they want to discuss this morning?
I'm just going to give a quick update on the MAPC contract. The update is that
I forgot.
there isn't a significant update. John McCartan is out on paternity leave for a large portion since we last met. He's due to back next week, and so I'm hoping to connect with him and maybe get some updates, substantial updates from him by our next meeting. So.
Okay. Anybody else? No? Okay. Motion to adjourn the meeting.
I hereby move.
I'll second it.
And seconded. Okay, it's a roll call vote. Alex?
Aye.
Tom B?
Aye.
Tom M?
Aye.
And Dorianne I. Have a great rest of your week, everyone, and we will see you on
Thank you
October